Ah, ah. Can you see those back there? Way back there. Ah, in the back of my throat. There's these things on the side there. They're called my tonsils. Now, my tonsils, they're fine. But poor Miss Nelson, her tonsils are hurting, and so guess what? She's going to get them out. And that means she has to have a substitute. Miss Nelson is back. You probably remember that we read a book about Miss Nelson who went missing yesterday. Miss Nelson is back by Harry Allard and James Marshall. One Friday morning, Miss Nelson told her class that she was going to have her tonsils out. I'll be away next week, she said, and I expect you to behave. Yes, Miss Nelson, said the kids in room 207. But at recess, it was another story. Wow, said the kids. While Miss Nelson is away, we can really act up. Not so fast, said a big kid from 309. Haven't you ever heard of Viola Swamp? Who? Said Miss Nelson's kids. Miss Swamp is the meanest substitute in the whole world, said the big kid. Nobody acts up when she's around. Oh, said Miss Nelson's kids. She's a real witch, said the big kid. Oh, said Miss Nelson's kids. I'll just bet you get the swamp, said the big kid. On Monday morning, Miss Nelson's kids were all in their seats. They were very nervous. Some of them had not slept well all weekend. If we get the swamp, I'll just die, said one kid. They heard footsteps in the hall. Slowly the knob turned, and the door opened. It was Mr. Blandsworth, the principal. I shall personally take over this class, he said. Miss Nelson's kids were so relieved, but they soon learned that Mr. Blandsworth was not a lot of fun. All morning, Mr. Blandsworth tried to amuse the class with his corny card tricks. Oh, brother, said the class. That afternoon, Mr. Blandsworth showed the class his favorite shadow pictures. This is kid stuff, said the class. Look, he's making a shadow picture dog with his hands. That's so cool. Maybe I should show you that. The next day, Mr. Blandsworth demonstrated that his favorite bird calls. They were not a success. And for 2 days, Mr. Blandsworth showed slides of his goldfish, Lucille. Miss Nelson's kids had never been so bored. While dusting erasers in the schoolyard, 3 of the ringleaders of 207 discussed the situation. Something will have to be done, they said. We must get rid of Blandsworth. And they hatched a plot. That means they thought up a plan. After school, they painted and sewed and borrowed some old clothes, and they practiced some very difficult stunt work in the backyard. The next day, they weren't in class. That's too bad, said Mr. Blandsworth. They'll miss all the excitement. Mr. Blandsworth was about to show the class his collection of ballpoint pens from all over the world when someone came to the door. Slowly the knob turned and the door opened. Oh, look, said the class. Miss Nelson is back. A tall and lumpy Miss Nelson tottered into the room. Mr. Blandsworth was surprised. You're back sooner than we expected, he said. The tall and lumpy Miss Nelson didn't speak. Said the kids. Her throat must still be sore. Are you sure you're well enough? Said Mr. Blansworth. She's sure, said the kids. Well, in that case, said the principal, I'll be getting back to the office. Nice to have you back, Miss Nelson. And he left the room. Whoa. Hot dog! Cried the class. We got rid of Blansworth. Now we can do just as we please. And at the stroke of 10, the kids from 207 left the building. No one stopped them. They went straight to the movies where they saw The Monster That Ate Chicago twice. This is really living, they said. Afterward, they went to Lulu's where they stuffed themselves silly. But soon, they made a serious mistake. Heading back to school, they passed Miss Nelson's house. Miss Nelson couldn't believe her eyes. Those are my kids, she said to us in a scratchy voice. What are they doing out of school? And who is that with them? Miss Nelson telephoned Mr. Blansworth to see what was going on. Oh, you're not Miss Nelson, said Mr. Blansworth. Miss Nelson is back. And he hung up. Can't fool me, he said. Said Miss Nelson. Something will have to be done. And she went to her closet. Back in 207, Miss Nelson's kids were spending an agreeable afternoon. They were very pleased with themselves. We should do this more often, they said. They did not notice the figure out in the hall. Slowly, the doorknob turned, and the door opened. My name is Viola Swamp, said the lady in a scratchy voice. Yipes, cried the kids. The swamp. That's right, said Miss Swamp, and I'm here to whip this class into shape. Get back to those desks on the double. The class did as it was told. The big kid from 309 was certainly right. Miss Swamp was a real witch. Oh, pretty scary. She knew how to get results. The class did a whole week's work in no time. We shouldn't have gotten rid of Blansworth, they said. Put down, said the Swamp. Or, just then, something under a desk attracted her attention. It was a mask. Aha, said Miss Swamp. So that's your little game. And she tried on the mask. Just as Mr. Blansworth stepped into the room. Miss Nelson, said Mr. Blansworth, I'm of the opinion that someone has been trying to impersonate you. Uh-oh, whispered the kids. You don't say, said Miss Swamp. Probably just some kids acting up. I'm sure it won't happen again. And Mr. Blansworth laughed. And it won't, will it? Said Miss Swamp to the class. Because the swamp will be watching. A minute later, Miss Nelson appeared. I'm back, she said. Hot dog, cried the kids. Are we glad to see you? Didn't you have fun with Mr. Blansworth? Asked Miss Nelson. Said the kids. They decided not to mention Miss Viola Swamp, but they wondered why Miss Nelson hadn't seen her in the hall. I wonder that too. Bum, bum, bum.